Hello, I'm Eagle Gardens, Eagle Gardens 1 on Instagram. And this is fucking talking shit with Eagle. This is episode 152. I hope you had an amazing Friday. I know I did. A beautiful day up here in northern Michigan, and I hope you had a beautiful day wherever you are as well. I have a great guest tonight. You probably recognize him from chat for sure. Uh, the Warlock. How you doing tonight? You want to tell us how you're doing and where all we can find you on the social media, if you will?
I'm on YouTube here and there as Warlock. Catch me on Instagram under Psychedelic Warlock. I don't usually accept a whole lot of followers because I've been shut down a couple of times for silly stuff. So apologize ahead of time on that one. Otherwise, doing great, Eagle. Good to be on the show.
Pleasure to have you, my friend. Pleasure to have you. How was your day? I mean, how was your? How was it, man?
Eventful. I mean, I'd like to say that every day's a new thing, of course. But I do a lot with farm animals and stuff like that on a daily basis. So, I see a lot of stuff. I know it sounds bland, but stuff. That's what I got.
Oh no, not at all. And farming is no easy task by any means. I mean, it might sound easy to maybe those on the outside, but anybody that's ever been on or near a farm
Apologize ahead of time on that.
uh, knows it is nothing but far from easy work. There can be some very long, grueling days on a farm. That's for sure.
Yeah. Like I was saying at one point, this is actually a little later than I'm usually up. I'm they're generally like the 4:30 in the morning, get up and get moving type person. So it's a long day, but it's a good day. Every day as far as I'm concerned. Anyhow.
Uh, yeah, I'm sure it is. I mean, there's something about doing what you want and being out there in the nature, being with animals, being out there in the nature. It's very rewarding all in itself.
So a far cry from city life, that's for sure. I've had my fill of that one. I'm done with that one for a long time.
So what kind of animals we talking there?
I deal with cows, pigs, chickens, horses, just about anything. Uh, it's funny to think that in Michigan there are people who basically do ranch type shit still. Herd cows back and forth, work with horses to get manners and whatnot underneath their feet so that they're rideable and all that good shit. Uh, it's like I said, it's weird to think the further north you go in Michigan, the I guess the more southern it becomes.
Yeah, I agree with that somewhat there. That's funny. I've never really thought about it like that, but now that you say it and I think of it like that, I can definitely agree. I can definitely agree. And there's nothing, I think it's funny, most people, if things go bad, man, you're right. There isn't too many environments like that, ranch like atmospheres anymore. But if everything goes south, if anything goes south, you guys will be set. You guys definitely know the way. You guys will be like, what, man? This is a fucking regular day, man.
All right.
I'll be fine. I'll be
Got
fine.
animals, vegetable gardens, and enough pot to last what time you need, and it's good.
Right on, right on. Speaking of cannabis, there, what are you smoking on? Hopefully,
I am smoking on my recent harvest of Labrador. It's a connoisseur genetic. It's oh man, I really wish I could remember I want to say let's see here. I got it on this list. It says it's LA Affy to OG Kush. I think it
what's
smells like
the
bouncy balls.
really? That's
It's
that's a
interesting.
different profile. Yeah. What's the taste on it like?
It carries through a lot of that rubber there. Uh, very earthy, kind of spicy. I I feel like this will be another good one after a good month or so of curing, so that it doesn't taste as, I want to say, as fresh, because I like to give a little bit more of a cure to it so that it kind of gets gets that flavor out of it. I don't know how to explain it really. I'm sure as somebody who is also a grower, you know the difference between more freshly smoked or fresh cannabis and like cannabis that has been cured. Apologies if I'm rambling, but yeah.
I know. That's what the show's for. I mean, with the rubber smell, do you expect like a little skunkiness to come out of there a little later in the cure?
I would hope so, but the odd thing is that I actually tend to find more skunky smells come out of the more piney varieties after they've cured for a while, which is, it's a little bit different. But things with a little bit heavier pine tend to come out more skunky. The rubber, after some, I want to say after about a month and a half or so, that'll probably take more of like I want to say like a spicy incense or earthy incense kind of thing to it with rubber background there.
Nice.
Unique
So is that
profiles.
right on? So I guess before we get too into it, I guess we just start at the beginning and kind of work our way to some of
Oh,
that
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
When tell us about your first experience with the plant, either around or using the plant.
The very first time I ever actually came into contact, I guess I can't say contact, but the ever first time I used cannabis, I had just turned 22 years old, and I had done a lot of things that I don't really like to talk about, and I was ready to make a couple of changes, and smoking pot was on that list, so I decided I'd try it, and I liked it. So life just kind of evolved from there. Turned out I had a family member I'd never even really talked to. He was kind of a black sheep, but he had been growing it for a long time, so just kind of learned some few things from him.
Nice. Uh, so what about what roughly what age we talking there?
From what when I learned, or
Yeah.
oh geez, I spent a good few years learning from him. I want to say I spent 4 or 5 years helping him at his grow before I ended up getting around my own stuff and starting. And get about 9 years coming up now on my own.
So when I say, I mean, what age were you around this this time period? That's
When I
what I'm
first
getting.
started it, when I first started growing, or when I first started smoking.
Well, we'll go with smoking. When did you
Well,
first start smoking?
first started smoking when I was 22 years old. I got a hold of it late in life, so
Nice.
so
What was don't was it what kept it? I mean, that is a little later in life, but no big worries
well,
about that. I mean,
later than some folk, I guess. I I just like to say that I went to a few places and did a few things, and we just kind of leave it at that one. But I don't really like to talk a whole lot about my past there for that particular 5 or 6 year jaunt in my life or so before cannabis.
fair enough. Fair enough.
It was a pretty rough patch. I don't like to remind myself.
I can understand that. So, roughly then, when did you start growing? I mean, when
Oh,
did that transpire?
yeah, I spent about 4 or 5 years helping my, I call him my uncle, but he was really my grandfather's brother. It just worked out that way. And after I helped him for a few, I ended up setting out my own grow when I was about 25, 26. I want to say 25 just to make it sound better. No, but I've got about 9 years coming up on now. It's not so bad.
So, even when you were learning there, let's start with there. I mean, what kind of atmosphere were you learning in? Like a soil
Uh,
atmosphere, indoor, outdoor?
the atmosphere I learned in was it was all indoor. I learned on a flood and drain system, and when I first started, because I learned on that system, I started with that, and I eventually found myself around into just soil. Now I just do soil grows, switching over from different types of hydro. I tried flood and drain at one point, started out like that, then went into deep water culture. Decided I didn't really like that a whole bunch and ended up with soil.
So, what kind of lighting and stuff, if you don't mind sharing?
I'm real simple. I use the same type of stuff that he taught me how to use. Just old T5 lights and HPS. A couple of thousand waters, and you call it a day.
It still works, that's for sure. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. I have been thinking about reaching over into the LED market here soon because I hear they're getting some pretty fancy stuff. I like those HLGs, those 650Rs. They seem pretty neat.
Oh, the LEDs are definitely there, both in yield and I think even more so in quality. That's for sure.
Oh,
Yeah, kind of.
see,
I was saying this the other night. The thing that I definitely enjoy about the LEDs is, man, power outages can be quite frequent up here in northern Michigan. And HPS, them ballasts don't like to be ran on fucking generators. So, but the LEDs don't mind it. So, when power goes out, man. They don't. I have no problem just plugging one of them into a generator and kind of firing things up. To where if I had a power outage before, I was just kind of keeping things in the dark until the power came back on because I didn't want to overwork my ballast in a temporary situation. You know what I mean? It wasn't worth the risk, to replace a bunch of ballast.
yeah, yeah. I actually use. I don't know if you've heard of the brand or not, but Solus Tech digital ballast. Those I've been running those for a
How
few, and those are actually generator ready. So
yeah,
those have come in
the,
pretty handy up here.
the Solus Tech are probably, in my opinion, probably one of the nicer ballast systems out there. That's for sure. That guy's definitely an innovator. You can actually he makes splitters for his ballast. You can actually split them off.
Yeah, it's
What
pretty
two
cool
six
stuff.
hundred?
Pretty cool stuff.
Very. I mean, have you been using that his his gear from since you started? Is that what you started with?
It's not what I started with. I started with magnetic ballast, but the first year when the Solus Tech ballasts were introduced, I picked one up, and then I ended up picking up another one to replace my other one. And I've actually had those since. I've not had to replace those ballasts since I got them. That was the first years those things even come out.
It doesn't
I don't
surprise
have
me.
a
Like I said,
don't have an exact year on that, but
no worries, no worries. So, yeah, soil. So you're probably not feeding just probably just natural inputs with the soil then.
Yep, I just used the M3 soil, Michigan made mix. Love that stuff. And some insect frass, some herb natural. Occasionally, I'll hit them with recharge, and that's really about it. That's all I got. I did recently start using that Wallace brand mycorrhizae, the giant pumpkin stuff, because someone brought it up. That stuff's pretty neat. I like that.
Did you? I was been kind of kicking that around. We had Kineos Genetics brought that stuff up at one point, and then MMP Nations Creations brought it up during his interview as well. And I actually forgot about it the last time I was going to get some, and I'm kind of kicking myself now. So if I remember right, it was well worth it, a great deal. Like,
oh, it's cheap. It's cheap. It goes a long way. It's I wish I had better I guess better information about it, but that's my biggest draw point. I'm simple, so I see cheap, super effective. I like it. I'd say it's great in my book.
I think everybody else is too. For sure. Were you able to bring up chat?
Oh, you know what? Here, let me give that a try here. Oh, let's see. All right. Yeah. I've got the live chat up right now. Yeah, there we go. There we go. I don't know if it knocked me off or what, but
no, good with me.
it's really weird seeing the YouTube going and then having you here, because it's like hearing myself talk and then hearing like it's like some kind of time lag or going on or whatnot.
Oh, you can pause the video and the chat will still roll. Take
oh man,
the weirdness out of it.
That's great. Thank you. Now that makes it way easier.
Weird. So, what kind of strains did? All right, let's start here. I mean, when you were helping your uncle, what kind of strains? What were you guys working with then?
He liked to grow Mr. Nice strains. A lot of his stuff come from across the pond. He really liked to collect genetics from the UK and such like that. And I just kind of went from there. I want to say the first couple that I grew with him were Ash and NHS. I think it was National Health Society or something it stood for. I can't quite remember. But they were real skunky things. I'm pretty sure most of them were Afghan hazes crossed to skunks and Northern Lights crossed to Afghans and such. Yeah, he actually grew those. He grew those for a long time, yeah, and then ended up switching over to some of the I want to say Cali Connection gear. He really liked their OG Kush and their Larry OG, so he was growing that for a hot minute. Greetings to everybody in chat. I see the messages. Apologize out of time. Sorry about that.
So,
how'd that look?
Oh, no worries. I encourage you doing some shout outs to chat. Big part of the show. Oh. So what were the things that you hated the most about the flood and drain system there?
That I liked and didn't like?
What you didn't like?
What I didn't like? It was messy. We went through a lot of those Grodan cube things. I wasn't a big fan of that. Like I felt like it was a lot of waste going through that much material all the time, but that was really about the biggest thing I didn't like about it, to be honest. I mean, otherwise it produced some pretty good flower. I just didn't really like the method in the end myself. It took up a lot of space. That's what I got.
So, in your opinion, as you've progressed, do you find that soil, the soil cannabis is a lot better than what you guys were producing back then, or may even be still to this day over there?
He still runs that system, and still I'm pretty sure he's still running FloraFlex nutrients through it. So, but he and I always get together, and generally once a summer, and we'll compare stuff. And I like to think my stuff's better, and he likes to think his stuff's better, and we just leave it at that. But it's a good time to get together and compare, because he'll give me shit all the time about how I'm not doing it the way he taught me.
Mm-hmm. I could see that a little bit, I guess. You'd like to think the teacher would like to think that some of the lessons stick when they teach them, right?
Yeah. I think they did. He taught me a lot of things to look for that if I had just started off by myself, I don't think I would have caught right away. I would have made a lot more mistakes if I hadn't. I don't count I don't count helping him for those years as my grow experience so much as I do my learning experience. When I say I've been growing for about 9 years now, I mean I've had my own grow set up for about 9 years now. Prior to that, I helped him for his 5 or so, and that was just a learning experience.
So, as you progress there, I mean, how did you said you started off in the flood and drain there? How many runs did you run that before you decided, I gotta start making some changes?
When I first started growing, I only ran the flood and drain for about 3 cycles, and I decided I didn't want to do that anymore. So I switched over to deep water culture in the 5-gallon buckets, and just kind of went from there for a couple of years. Ended up going into that they were just coming out with the undercurrent systems, and I tried getting into those for a couple. Wasn't as big on them because I ended up fucking a bunch of stuff up I shouldn't have by overthinking too many things. So I told myself I didn't want to do that no more. Switched over to soil, and I've been a lot happier.
Why give up the DWC? I mean, that's pretty much, in my opinion, that's the race car of all the systems. Myself, I think that's the race car of all the ways you can grow. Why'd you give that one up?
Well, because it was the race car, I was happy just having something of a daily driver. I didn't need to have everything dialed in like a mad scientist to be happy, and I knew it. It's I didn't have to maximize my yield as long as I knew everything was grown organically and I was happy. I knew everything that was in it. I didn't have to dump a bunch of like bottles and stuff in it. No shade on anyone who does. It was just my personal preference. I was happier in the end with it, I guess.
So, at that point, what were you running in the flood and drain?
After the flood and drain, or which genetics was I running in flood and drain?
Which genetics were you running in the flood and drain?
I started off with a lot of the same stuff as my uncle was running when he was cutting it out at the time, which was the Mr. Nice gear, so the Ash, and then NHS. Eventually, I got some of that Larry OG that he was running, and that was about when I stopped doing the flood and drain and switched over to deep water culture. I kept the let's see. He had a funny named one that it was kind of sweet. It was real hashy. I can't remember the name. Nordle was it? And that one he only had every so often, but that was probably my favorite. I lost that after that deep water culture incident. That's kind of what threw me off the whole thing. Anyhow, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Apologies.
No worries, man. So, what kind of pots, when you switched over to the soil, what kind of pots and stuff did you jump into?
Just normal plastic pots. I still use them to this day. I know a lot of people say fabric pots are good stuff. I've just not gotten around to it yet. You know, I figure things aren't broke, don't fix them.
What size pots are you running?
Usually threes. I like the size 3 pots. Well, is it 2s or 3? Yeah, it's 3s, and that skips up to 5s. But yeah, I like the 3s for the most part. 5s if I want something to get a little bit bigger. This next run that I've got going on with the purple cheddar is going to be the first run I've ever used a larger size pot on. It's going to be a size 25, I think.
That's what I'm getting when I've talked to most people about the organics, is just need seems like a little step up. You know, if you're usually in 5s, you're almost a little bit better off trying to run than 10s. But again, I don't know.
I'm in between a couple harvests and have a couple mothers that I wanted to put in, so I figured I'd toss them in, you know, the biggest pots I could fit in there and kind of put one under each 1,000 watt and call it good. See if they did well.
So what strains are you currently messing with?
Oh man, I've got a couple of them. I've got Shoreline from Shoreline Genetics and Southern Comfort. Those are essentially they're pretty much GMO back crosses, if you ask me. But that's those from Connoisseur Genetics. I've got Purple Cheddar, Labrador, Wood Green. So Labrador is the OG Affy to OG Kush cross, or OG Chem, I think. Purple Cheddar is purple to see. I want to say UK cheese, but it might be a different cheese, so don't quote me on that one. I'd have to go look. It's written down. And then the Wood Green is a diesel fuel back cross, which you ask me, some people say diesel, and I think, you know, it don't really smell like a whole lot of diesel to me, but okay. See, then after that, from Exotic Genetics, I've got the the Monkey Mints and the Wonka Bars. I like that Wonka Bars. That one's pretty good. Dominion from Dominion Seed Co. I just pulled out a bunch of their local skunk and the Dominion diesel. As you can tell, I run a lot of different phenotypes because variety is the spice of life. I try to fit as many different things in there as I can at once.
Oh, I agree. I like to switch it up myself. I definitely like to switch it up.
I think the next run I'm gonna do is going to be probably looking through some of the. I don't know if you're familiar with the Stray Fox Gardens, or I think he's a Michigan breeder, but he had an Afghan black skunk and a skunky white that he just come out with not too long ago that I'm pretty excited to put to the ground.
No, I haven't heard of him, but I enjoy hearing of Michigan breeders. That's for sure. So
I think he is. I'm not sure. My memory isn't too great.
Go ahead and blame it on the cannabis. They say it works like that anyway.
Oh yeah, that's that. There we go. I'll do that. That darn giggle bush.
Giggle bush. It's the first time I've ever referred to it like that, but I like
I mean, jazz cabbage. We can go with that one. That works.
I like both.
All right.
So, what is exactly your flavor profile that you're looking for?
I'm really sold on pretty much anything skunky. If it's actually skunky, you know, I'm really on a hard hunt for the skunk stuff. I hear that it's gone. I hear that it doesn't exist anymore, and all that stuff. But I'm optimistic. I think it's still out there, and I think it's just waiting to be found by somebody persistent enough to not stop looking.
I think when I was talking with Rascal Farmer a couple weeks ago, man, he found some stuff up in his attic there. Yeah, it sounded like he might have just had some of it tucked up in there. I'm hoping he does. I hope he does. Somebody's got to have it tucked somewhere. That's for sure.
See, that's what I'm hoping for. Someone's got it somewhere. It's somewhere.
Boy, when somebody does unlock that, that's gonna be the next big thing. You know what? It ain't gonna
Oh,
take long for that kid to make some bucks right there. That thing's gonna fly off the shelf.
it's gonna happen one of these days for somebody. You know, I don't even care if it's me. You know, I just want somebody to find it so it can get back into the market.
Man, you think somebody's got to unlock that sequence. I mean, like you say, it's just like a lottery. Some sooner or later that number's got to come up.
Sooner or later, yeah.
So, have you found any good close seconds yet?
I think I would like to say that for me, the closest one so far has probably been the shoreline, and maybe one of the phenotypes of local skunk was what I was considered skunky, but it's got some time to cure before I'll really know, because you know that stuff can kind of change when it dries up a bit more. But for me,
I agree.
so far it's been the shoreline. That's had about the closest thing to a skunk, and that's not even really a skunk. It's like some kind of GMO to OG backcross of some form. I don't know. I ain't hung up on it. If it smells like skunk, tastes like skunk.
So, what's a second? What's your? I'm gonna guess pine is your second
As
profile
far
you're
as
searching for.
terps, as far as terpenes,
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I would actually place pine at my number 3, because I mean I do know that the pine does tend to cure into a more skunky smell at the end. It's not always the best flavor because I don't really always like, you know, sitting like I'm reefing on some pine needles. You know, some of those pine tars, like the pine tar OGs, I pulled a tester of those. Didn't post a whole lot about it, but I mean it's definitely pine tar. It's it threw me off. I was kind of expecting, a little bit of pine, something like that, but no, that's like crunching up a bunch of pine needles and trying to light them.
Nice. That sounds really good.
Like I said, it threw me off guard. Actually, speaking on those, I think I've got a whole extra pack of those. I know I sent you one of the smaller ones at one point, but I will not end up running this second pack. So I would not mind sending it to you if you wanted to run those yourself.
Oh, I would. I know, but I don't like to ask for that. I was
You don't have to ask. I'm
the,
offering. That's the way it is. You send shit to people all the time. Sometimes someone's got to send something to you.
yeah, again, I'm just one of them people. I'm tough about taking things, man. It's just a weird quirk in me, I guess. It's just something ain't right.
Understand. I'm difficult to give things to as well, so I can understand that. But the way I'm seeing it is, it is a terpene that you yourself are rather interested in, and I won't ever make it around to getting that pack. So somebody who's actually interested in it should get it.
I'd be definitely honored to have it. That's for sure. I mean, that sounds delicious. I mean, what you're describing over there definitely sounds delicious. And I
I
like
think
it
it's
both
something
for
pine people will want that one. That's going to be something that if you got people who want straight pine and nothing but pine, like we're talking Christmas mornings shoving your face into a tree kind of pine, then that's your jam.
That sounds really good. I find it's good for me in two levels. It's good on my older lungs, my old construction lungs, and it's good for my head, man. It does. It really clears out some of the bullshit. And, just good smoke all around. I think.
Uh, it's been a good calming effect. I feel like for the most part for the pine, if you like a real good daytime kind of thing or kind of chill at the end of something. I mean, it's not real sedative for me, and I kind of like the ones that make you fall asleep a lot myself. So
Yeah, the heavy indica.
yeah, couch lap
They're good.
preferred.
They're nice to have, man, but I gotta have something to mix with them. I gotta have something to mix with them. Every time I try to go full indica like that, I just get combed out for till it's gone. Just couch locked. I mean, I remember I grew out an OG Kush that was just a fuely, nasty. Oh, it was so good, OG Kush. But I had to shelf it. I had to just get rid of it because the whole time I would get nothing done. I'd work, come home, and then smoke that one. And once I'd smoked that one, oof, I was done. I was done. I didn't want to do nothing after that. And I was like, man, as soon as this is, I can't do this another cycle. I gotta mix it up.
That's exactly the kind of stuff that I really like to smoke after I'm done doing stuff with all the animals and such. Though do a lot of running around, so it's really nice to just kind of sink into a couch or something afterwards.
I'm some hard days and working with animals and stuff. I can imagine you have some very sore evenings, and indicas are great for that. That's for sure.
Well, won't complain too much. It's a life worth living for anyone, if you ask me. It's a good time. Anyhow, I'm sure you got more questions and such. I don't, want to reminisce about the country days.
We're here to hear about you. We're here to learn a little bit more about the person, people we see in chat and stuff. So, not necessarily rambling on. It's good to get a little bit of background and what they're
Gotcha.
about. So, I mean, we can get back a little bit more to the grow. I mean, you can tell me a little bit about like your technique or something. It's whatever he says.
It is whatever, man. That's what I got. You know, I'm a very relaxed person when it comes down to it all. You know, I'm not very highly strung. I kind of just let things glance off. And I think if I took everything serious, I'd probably have a stroke by now.
You can't take anything serious; it'll kill you. Jeez, especially these days. So when you're walk us a little bit through your technique there. I mean, when do you prefer to start from seed?
I do. I very much so prefer to start from seed. I what I like to do is if I find some kind of genetic that I find myself interested in, I will buy multiple packs of that one sort just so that I can search through it. Just, you know, until I can say, you know, and end up having a solid handful of different phenotypes of it. You know, just pheno hunt one specific strain. And I'll keep it around for a few, maybe 4 or 5 cycles as a clone, and that's really about it for those types of things. But I prefer to start from seed because of all the variations and all the neat stuff you see.
Yeah, I definitely like to do a little bit of pheno hunting when I pop my seeds as well. There's just something about finding that, hopefully finding that one thing nobody else has had, that one trait that stands out from everybody else's.
I oh shoot, I already lost that train of thought. It's gone. But I kind of like to start from seed in the sense because of all that variation and whatnot. I mean, sometimes you get some really nice males too that you might end up using in a separate tent later. You know, you don't if you're getting all clones and stuff. Well, I guess it depends if you're using feminized seeds or not. Huh? Anyhow, past that. Don't mind me rambling.
There's definitely something to be said about seed vigors. I think plants that first few rounds are definitely more vigorous than clones. Any thoughts on that? I mean, have you found that to be true?
I would thus also agree with that. As you can tell, I'm a particularly slow individual, so I'm not the quickest. I don't have all the right words all the time, but I try. But vigor, yes, vigor is the word I was looking for. Is they definitely have more vigor when they come out with the seeds there. Too much smoke here. Apologize.
So as you're working up there in veg, I mean, do you transplant multiple times, or do you just like tend to put them in their home and let them
I
just take off from there?
I try not to. I like to just kind of put them in the biggest, you know, whatever one they're going to be resting in and let them go. Generally speaking, I'll start them in a solo cup, you know, just to kind of see if they're male or female, and then I'll separate them from there into different tents.
Um, do you like to top? Are you like to
I do
top a
not.
lot, or do you prefer low stress training? Do you mess with them at all, just to kind of let them go au natural?
I do not like to top, but I do like to tie them down in different, you know, do the low stress training and such like that. Uh, it's for me, it's worked out better. I've had some topping issues where I feel like I've topped and I could have had a really nice cola if I hadn't topped, so I kind of regretted it. So I just kind of started tying stuff down, and it worked out enough for me to be happy.
Johnny Candice's asking, in which state are you in? I
Well,
know, but
I am in Michigan. I am also in the good old mitten here.
right on, right on. I just thought I'd ask because sometimes people
Oh, it's
don't want
good.
it to be known.
No, I don't mind. I mean, it's all recreational and such here now. I don't feel like there's as much reason to keep quiet anymore. I mean, one of my biggest reserves for coming on to a show or something like this up to this point is, a lot of the stuff my uncle had taught me back then was, you don't talk to people about it, because if people know, then that's how stuff goes bad. It goes pear-shaped.
And these days it's quite different, though. I mean,
Yeah.
the whole recreational thing, man. I've been doing this for quite a while, and cannabis has just been a part of my world. And then, there's been times where, as a caregiver, a fully carded caregiver, I'm able to carry up to 15. And there's been times when I've had, a friend or a patient with me, and knowing that I'm carrying, you know what I mean, and them just friggin' sweating bullets. And I'm like, this is not nothing. This is this is just another day, and now it's legal. You know what I mean? Now I'm almost too cocky these days now that it's wreck. I mean, the other day, I actually jumped out of the car and just a sip in my hand and walked around with it. And I feel like, man, this is my, even recreational, I'm allowed to have this. So what's the biggie?
That kind of, it's very brazen, a lot of the stuff you can do now. It always makes me think of that the Chef Anna guy. He's always walking around with his plant in the Walmarts and stuff like that, or dropping bags of weed for people and such, or cannabis, whatever you want to call it.
Right. Yeah, I'm not so sure I'd walk around the Walmart with a cannabis plant, but I wonder, what is the technicality on that? I mean,
I'm not sure. I'm not even sure if that guy's in Michigan, to be honest. He's probably in a different state entirely. It just makes me laugh because it's just some pretty crazy out there stuff going on as far as that plant goes now.
What always used to get me, and that was going on a while ago, was the morning dabs and stuff. Everybody getting on and taking that big old 1 gram. I mean, they were doing that kind of shit and custom grow 420 there. I can remember that cat. Which, by the way, you don't see. I don't see much of them. Dabs must have really caught up with that cat. Now that I think about it, 'cause you don't see much of him these days. But man, that cat was doing them big old like 2 gram dabs. I still can't believe people ever did that.
This glutton for punishment. And the thing is, a lot of those ones back then were like the real, like when BHO was super big too, and a lot less rosin. So they were getting some potentially kind of gnarly stuff there. Not saying they were, but there's always a possibility.
Oh, there's definitely a possibilities. I don't think we knew much about purging. I mean, we knew it had to be somewhat purged, but I don't think we knew near what we do now. And I'm sure there was some bad shit floating around in a lot of them bad early dabbers, for sure.
As far as at one point you were talking about like being a fully slated caregiver and such. I never been a fully slated caregiver, but I've had a pretty good amount of plants a few times. I not saying that as a bad thing, and I don't encourage no one to do it. You should definitely keep mine, but plant counts have never really been a whole lot of something I've been too keen on because it makes pheno-hunting too difficult.
I agree there. Well, it's funny that you say that because it's, you take out the males. It's a number that like goes down, but then multiplies almost twice as much when you're pheno hunting. Like you say, you start out with 30, if you will. Me drop down to 20. with your females, and then now you've got your pheno-hunting, so that 20 turns into probably 40 minimum. When you're doing that hunt there, you got to pick them out and have a backup in case you like them.
Yeah, yeah. And even the males, you know, if you're keeping the males, you need to end up having those ones set aside also, and it still counts against, I guess, what? Yeah, I use the word, you know, little air quotations like Dr. Evil plant count, but I don't encourage anyone to do that. It's not real. It's not real good for you. Don't listen to what I'm saying.
So, do you hunt for males? I mean, are you looking to
I
do some
do.
breeding? Do you do some breeding?
I do. I just do not post a whole lot about it. I keep a whole separate area for any males that I feel like would be decent. I don't actually know enough to be what I would consider an educated breeder, but I'll run a male that I think is a decent structure 2 or 3 times before I decide that that's the one that I'm taking pollen from, and then I'll run a female a couple of times before this, you know, same kind of thing, and then I'll kind of make myself a little back cross of that kind of stuff just out of curiosity's sake and go from there. And well, it's all for personal use, just that if I want to revisit a certain genetic or something like that in the future, I'm able to. Like for, you know, for the shoreline, you know, I found one that I really liked, had a real nice skunky smell, and pretty compact as far as a male goes and everything like that. And I, after a few runs of that female that end up pretty skunky, I went ahead and dashed those two in a tent, just kind of tossed them in a tent together, let them do their thing the way that they're gonna, and collect seeds from there. And, you know, after a few, really just so that I can revisit the strain in the future.
Makes good sense. Makes good sense.
But
So,
I have no aspirations to be a breeder or sell seeds or anything like that, because I know, you know, a lot of folk, you know, it can get real stressful to do that kind of stuff. A lot of folk tend to want that kind of stuff, you know, if you put out something popular, you know, I just don't think I could deal with that kind of stuff. I ain't good enough socially for that kind of thing.
seeds, most people I find are usually pretty happy when in the seed market there. I mean, especially if you're putting out quality there. It's always usually good on good. So, how many strains have you worked with, if you don't mind me asking?
Wow. I I've got a small catalog of different things that I've worked with, and I know that I'm going to say just easily past 100 different genetics at this point for that one.
That's a good number. That's a good number.
I'm a collector, you know. I don't ever view it as that I've got good stuff. Other people have good genetics, and I just collect them.
Definitely a little bit of a collector myself. Just something about it, especially if you know, limited. Man, I don't know how many times I've got grabbed limited breeder strains just because of that. Jinx, I think Jinx was a master at starting the limited.
Jinx proof, yeah, he has a couple pretty good ones. You know, I think I might still have one of his older packs of the 9-pound hammer from when him and Sub were still doing those together.
That's the good ones there. There's two of them. There's actually one 9-pound was actually first released under with a TGA label, and then it was released the second time with a Jinx Proofs label with the puzzle piece on, but it was still similar. But yeah, both fired. I mean, is that one of your knock me out strains? That's a heavy hitter. That's most
I
definitely a heavy hitter.
You know, it's funny enough to say I've grown the jinx proof one of that, but because it's not a pack I think I'll be able to replace, I have not actually opened the TGA pack of 9-pound hammer.
That's the one.
I've actually got a few of the old subs gear, you know, a bunch of his TGA gear that, again, because I collected it, you know, I've always been interested in all the different types of stuff that could come out of it, and then I'll end up collecting a bunch of seeds, and a bunch of them I end up not even growing because I either don't got the space or I forget about them.
And some of them, like you say, I'm right there with you. I have a hard time cracking them, even though I know I should be cracking them.
Yeah. Like, see, I think this, I'm not sure if other people have it or not, but I've got one of what I think may be one of the only packs still sealed of Pandora's Box from TGA. And I'm really excited. I really want to run that one. That one and the Doctor Who, but I've not gotten around to them yet.
Doctor Who's fire.
Is it?
Doctor Who's fire. And now you know what? I have a Pandora's box, but mine's a newer one. And I always wondered. I've always wondered about it. That's what I've wondered. Because I got mine like last year from some. And it does have it isn't like an older label, but I've still kind of went, I don't know. For some reason, I always go, I don't know, because it's such a hard to get strain, and it was just like dropped in my hands. That's why I snagged it. I was like, oh, I gotta have
that. I've got quite a few of the old TGA genetics. I mean, one of the it's funny. I used to dick around on forums here and there, and I think it was I can't remember. Either way, I ended up with one of Sub's old testers that was Pink Lady, and I laughed because I brought that to him. Not him, actually. I brought it to his booth. He never actually showed up to that first cup in Clio there. I don't know if he ever showed up to any of them. But
no.
But the first cup I brought that Pink Lady specifically thinking I was going to be able to give it to Sub, but ended up only being able to give it to whoever the guys were at the booth. And they told me it wasn't even called Pink Lady anymore. It was called Plushberry.
Oh. Yeah, that's definitely a keeper right there. That's definitely a keeper. That's probably the pink pheno then. The pink pheno that came with the Plushberry. Which is hard to come by. Very hard to come by. That's the one everybody looks for is the pink pheno and the Plushberry.
I think I still have some pictures of that. I might be able to send you one of these times over the Instagram and whatnot. As I know I used to keep pictures from when I did the TGA stuff back then. I might have to pop some of those out, you know, rest in peace Sub and all that. Honor the man, grow some of his gear.
How is Chris Merck says Pandora's box is a myth, guys? Not as far as cannabis strains is. Definitely not a myth as far as TGA goes. But the real Pandora's box, yes.
Oh man, you know, I feel bad now. I've not been paying enough attention to the to the chat here. I feel like I've been skimping.
Shoot 67 in chat right now. Bunch of weed nerds in there.
All right, good.
Actually got the Fresno weed nerds in the house. Twisted Roots, a Michigan guy's a misfit in the house. That's pretty cool. Jack Green saw Chris Mertz. A lot of names I'm sure you recognize.
Yeah. But no, I've got quite the collection of Sub's old gear. If at any point you're looking for a few of them, I could send you a list. But you probably got most of them,
So,
being you and his friend and such.
right on. So which one of the TGA strains were your favorite to run? Now,
Quirkle,
since we're talking
hands
about them.
down. I loved Quirkle and I loved Quantum Kush. They were among my favorites.
Nice. What did you like about the Coracle?
The Quirkle had a crazy, crazy floral berry smell to it, if I remember right. Huge, thick purple buds out of the one pheno I had, and then the other one was green, but I wasn't a fan of that one as much. But the purple Quirkle that I'd grabbed, well, I guess that phenotype ended up being purple. That there was something about it. It was a really heavy yielder. The smell almost reminded me of like berries and lilacs, the flowers there. But I lost that one.
It's a shame. It's a shame. For some reason, I don't know. I always enjoyed Coracle, and it was one of the staples there. But it surprised me that that was your go-to there.
I liked that. It was a good one. And it was just it was different. It was different than the other stuff that I was smoking at the time. And I think
So,
you know,
go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
oh no, that's my bad. I kind of got distracted and then continued the sentence later. I think the biggest draw for me was the you know, at the time it yielded heavy. It was a heavy yielder. So, you know, I was stoked.
Outside of TGA, what are some of your favorite strains?
That's a real loaded question. Because I want to say skunk, but you know it's hard to say skunk, and then people say, well, skunk from where and stuff like that. But so I'm gonna avoid that one for now. But I really like things like OG Kush. You know, I can't say a specific breeder's OG. Yes, I can. Oh, like a Reserva Privada. You ever have any of their stuff?
Yes, I have their headband.
Yeah, well, their headband is crazy good too. I really like their headband. But their OG that they ran for a long while, that was that was definitely among my favorite stuff. DNA Genetics used to have a Chocolope, and that was weird. That was a weird strain, but it was also a pretty good one. Unique. I like the unique ones. Those are all my favorites. I guess it's hard to put them in any specific order. But I could see. Here's the thing. I could stand here and name a whole bunch of them because the more I think about it, the more it turns into like a Bubba Gump shrimp list, where I just got to name every single one. You know, all the different.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, nothing wrong with that because there might be a few people out there that had never heard of some of them that may raise a few eyebrows. And go, I might have to check that one out. Sounds delicious.
Okay. Well, if anybody's ever heard of the, let's see, there's an old. I guess it's not older. It would be older as far as, I guess, middle age as far as genetics are concerned. But Trainwreck, the Arcata cut, that stuff. Ooh, that stuff was pretty good.
Definitely. That was a mess you up strain back in
Oh,
the day.
Trainwreck was still. If there's another thing that needs to make a roundabout, it's Trainwreck. That needs to come back pronto.
Yeah, I had a purple train wreck that I really liked, but it wasn't a heavy yielder. That was the bummer about it. That's why I never kept it. It must have been the purple end of it. But it was good smoke. not the keeper I wanted.
I'll
What
check it
else
out.
you
Check
got
it out.
there?
I was just looking at the chat here. I see a couple of these guys have also had some experience with the Chocolope. I'm glad to see some other people know what I'm talking about with that one.
I remember hearing of it, but I've never grown it or smoked it, to be honest with you.
It's unique. That's all I can put it. It's I wish I had a better memory for some of these things, you know, like a eidetic memory for different cannabis flavors.
So, what's some of your other favorites you've had there?
I'm sorry, I got distracted. UK cheese has always been a firm favorite there. Love the different types of cheeses. Just about any diesel, you know, as long as it's got the fuel to it. I like that fuel. Uh, can't go wrong with GMO from just about any breeder. I want to say yeah, I want to say that I stick to more of the earthier stuff like that. You know, some people are real hip on the Skittles and the Runts and stuff like that, and I kind of don't like those ones myself. Afghan, you can't go wrong with Afghan Kush.
What's been your heaviest producer so far?
Ooh. You know, that's actually a difficult one to say. I mean, if I went by memory, I would probably say it was a it was a specific cut of Hindu Kush that I had actually. No, not Hindu Kush. It was Bubba Kush. It was not Hindu Kush. It was Bubba Kush that I had. That was probably one of my better yields. But
That sounds right. Bubble was a heavy yielder for sure.
Bubba was my go-to for a few. I like the Bubba and the oh man, kind of brain fog. I'm trying to remember the other one, but Bubba was the big one. But yeah, what about you, Eagle? What are your favorite strains? I know it's about me, but let's hear about you too.
Oh, I enjoy lot of everything. To be honest with you, as far as TGA and the dank goes, uh, Cheesequake and Plusberry have always been a couple of my favorites from the older line. And man, one of my favorites that I ran, well, it's just outright one of my favorites was Purple Train or Purple Death Star rather. I'm sorry about that, which was the Corporal times Death Star. That one was I really enjoyed that one. I really enjoyed that. Headband, obviously, I've ran three different strains of the headband. I've always been fan of the fuely stuff, and now I'm kind of under searching for them pines. I want to get back to that. Hopefully that one we were talking about, just like you said, that one you remember from like your high school era. You know, the one you first good homegrown you ever smoked. Was, but that's not the nostalgic reasons isn't necessarily why I'm looking for it anymore. It's more like I said because it's uh, more medicinal reasons anymore. I like it because it's a triple winner for me. It's good for my lungs. It's good for my head, and for me when I like indulge on it, like double up, get a little heavy handed, man. I get silly, silly on the pine turds.
It's
And,
the kind of
I
stuff
like
you sit there. eyes closed for the most part, moving towards the fridge and back to the couch a little bit.
I like to be silly. As my kids were growing up their whole life, I think I heard from them, I don't know how many times, you guys grow up, Dad. Grow up. I'm like, never, never.
See, I hear that from my niece. She's always telling me that I need to act like I'm older or something like that, and I laugh and saying, "You need to stop smelling like pine cones." She's only like 4, so she knows what. I don't know if she really knows what's going on, but I laugh because having a little girl threaten you about how you need to act your age and stop smelling like pine cones. It's pretty fun. I don't have kids myself or anything like that. I'm a loner. My siblings have kids though, so I get to see those enough. It's good enough for me.
That's good. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm gonna
answer that.
I'm gonna leave that to the imagination for now. I like to keep that guessing.
No worries, no worries.
I'm sure if people went back to the start of the video and they started piecing together the math, talking about when I started growing, when I was getting, out from under my uncle's wing and stuff, they could probably figure it out. But I'm gonna make them go through all that to do it.
Right. So, how do you like to dry your cannabis? And let's go there for a second.
All right, I like to hang dry. I like to just take the larger families off. I have a whole separate tent and everything like that for drying. It's got air movement through it, but no fans inside of it or anything like that, so that there's no hair being blown around or anything. I hang usually for about 14 to 20 days or so, I would call it, until it's just starting to snap dry. Everything's decently monitored in there, I suppose. I would say it's all right with what I can get it. Temperature wise, it tends to stay about 60 degrees, and then humidity is only about 50, 55 in there at max. So I like it as far as a drying area.
Yeah, I'm still not a fan of dry trimming. I'm trying as best I can to get on board with it, but I am definitely not a dry trimmer.
I'm a dry trimmer. I actually I like the dry trim, and I noticed I used to wet trim, but then I started to dry trim, and I kind of did a comparison, and I noticed that there was a little bit more of a grassier, fresh flavor to the stuff that I had dried or that I had trimmed when it was wet. So I just decided I was going to start trimming dry from that point.
Nice. I can see that. Especially with looking back at the way I trim. I'm very notorious of trimming very close, wet, with the thought that, and it works that way too, with any leaf matter mist kind of recedes into the flower there, and it kind of gets missed. To where if I'm dry trimming, man, I overwork it. I overwork it because I know that's it. You know what I mean? I'm really kind of getting in there and pulling it out.
I think the only thing I don't like about dry trimming are the occasional crow's feet you can kind of get in there, like the leaves that just kind of like to stick into the buds. You got like this angry little stem in there with a couple of little fingers hanging off of it.
Right. definitely depends. It isn't so bad, I guess. You find that nice sweet spot of dryness where everything kind of, you can just kind of almost roll it around in your hand. It's a nice dry trim, I guess.
Yeah.
But if it has just a little bit of moisture to it, it could be a tough, tough trim.
But yeah. As far as drying, it's pretty pretty simple. Just big leaves off, hang dry. I would say the average is probably about 14 days. I say 20 days just to be safe if, if humidity's being a real dick or anything like that.
So, how do you tend to enjoy your cannabis? You straight flower smoker?
Yeah, for the most part. For the most part, just a lot of joints and bong rips. I really like the bongs. Bongs are a good time. I just try not to hit them whenever I plan on talking to people because I'll end up sounding like I'm losing a lung for a couple of minutes.
No dabs? No dabs at all?
Not not recently. I've kind of been holding out on that whole thing. I recently ordered a medium-sized freeze dryer so that I could start doing a whole bunch of the rosin pressing and whatnot like that, so I could see how that goes. Pretty excited to get into that venture.
Definitely the next wave for sure. Everybody that has one says they're never going back.
That's what I keep hearing. Figure I wanna get on that train and see what's all special about the hubbub and whatnot.
Then again, as I'm saying that, and I'm like thinking back, looking back at what I'm saying is, I'm like, yeah, thinking. But then again, they also say they have to grow a shit ton of flour because they're pressing the shit out of everything for them dabs.
It's one of those they don't even want the flower anymore. They just want to smoke the rosin. So fuck it.
Right on. So maybe I'm not so hip if it's gonna double my flour consumption.
It's We'll see how it goes. I'm optimistic. I I really just wanted to do it all for myself because I grow a lot of different strains, but I don't tend to all crop out at the same time. So I don't always have one specific variety or a lot of one specific variety. So that makes working with processors a little more difficult. They tend to want a little bit more material so that they can have some kickback.
Uh, I don't even like to talk about processors.
So you know all too much about what I'm talking about here.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I'm still making bubble. I'm still making bubble, and when I want some wax or rosin, I just buy the shit at this point or trade for it rather than send my material off because I'm heartbroken. It's one of them things you just because you're not there and you don't know or whatever. You always feel like you're taking it. I don't. You do, you do.
Yeah, yeah,
Every you walk away going, nah. I know there was more than this. I know there was
yeah.
more.
But that's
Then for me,
that's
I always think I'm getting like the second end of the quality. You know what I mean? Like they've got the top notch, and I just got the back end of it. Like,
yeah, like they're just kicking you out the scratch. They're like, no, he won't even know.
right, exactly, exactly. They don't know the fucking difference. I got the
That's
diamonds and all the
exactly
good
why
shit.
I decided to buy my own stuff, was just so that I could get into that. I didn't want to be screwed out of my stuff. That way, if if I ever get into a spot where I can say, hey, a friend of mine wants something done, you know, just have the person come over, that kind of shit. It's I don't believe in that whole taking half of their thing and whatnot. I'd like to do it as a business eventually, but I don't want to do it the same way everybody else is doing it, if you know what I mean. let me rephrase that. I don't. I want to be somebody that anybody can feel comfortable like going to for processing eventually. You know, that type of thing. You know, even if they've only got an ounce and they want to get that put into something, whatever. You want to swing on by and watch it be done right in front of you. You go on ahead and do it. I'll teach you how to do it type stuff.
That's pretty cool. I like that. That's really cool.
Yeah, I'm a real hands-on learner, and I know a lot of other people are better off learning that way. And I know a lot of the processors don't really want to teach you. I guess I can't say they don't want to. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I can't speak for them, but they don't seem too privy to hand up their information. So, in
Well,
the
I
event
can I can testify to that because I've asked. You don't know how many onto the show, and at half of my no shows, half or better are extract artists. And I think that's just it. I don't know if they like wig out the day of and they're like, there's no fucking way I'm giving up my secrets. There's just no way.
yeah, I'd make a poor businessman. I'd be giving away all my secrets to anybody who wanted to come listen to me talk about them.
But Mr. Bond 420 came on. He gave some great tips. But I've asked, as far as like for Growley came on, but we didn't really necessarily talk about, a whole lot of extraction. But yeah, a lot of them. I've asked a lot on it. I don't know what it is. They seem to be the hardest of the cannabis community to get on the show. The extractors. I don't know why.
I guess I can understand from a standpoint, they want to keep their business rolling all that good stuff.
Maybe they're afraid they're going to get bombarded by what we've been talking about there.
Oh, see, yeah, maybe.
How does that really work, and what half do I really?
And really, where does it go?
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely. I could do the rosin. I don't care much for the hydrocarbon side because I don't want to be a scientist, but I could press some shit. I can figure out how to press some shit.
Yeah, I like that, and I want to do that, but I also want to do the. Let's see, there. A couple of summers ago, there was an event in Ann Arbor that Frenchy Cannoli held. That he showed all of his techniques and everything like that as to how he rolls his hash. And there were only maybe 10 of us that went to that thing, and that was a really nice experience. I really want to bring that kind of stuff to the market as well. I know it's just temple balls and just about anybody could do it, but it doesn't seem like I see them enough.
No. I enjoy some temple balls. It's a great way to store some hash and just it get better with time. Temple balls age so well.
But oh yeah, that class, if there's anything I wish would come back, it'd probably be that guy to do another one of those.
I believe he's doing well, it was up until the COVID was making a big roundabout with the how-tos. I was actually looking into it myself. The lost art of hashish.
Yeah. That was the event that he had down in Ann Arbor there. I was so pleased as punch to go to that I actually framed my ticket.
I would have too. He's such an amazing guy. It's so free with his time. He's not afraid to get in there and talk with you. At least when I've had the opportunity of crossing paths with him.
Oh yeah,
was that the case?
Very nice. Very, very nice man. Very soft spoken though for the lot of the part. You know, some things were a little difficult to understand, but you know, I suspect that comes with such a heavy accent and whatnot. But as far as the person goes, he was very nice. You know, he had no problem like standing right over your shoulder to see if you were doing everything right and offering little critiques as to how he thought maybe you might be pressing too hard with one side and not enough with the other and such like that. You know, picking on myself here for that one.
I use the water bottle technique when I'm making my temple walls. I've watched a lot of his videos, and I hold him in high regard as far as a hash mentor, for sure.
Yeah, he had a whole. Well, it was something like a 6 hours or so, I think. But he had a whole slideshow and everything that we end up going through, talking about the ripeness of the resin glands and all such like that, as to how he thinks they're more like grapes and such, as to that they should be harvested when they're at the peak of ripeness, as to what you want them for. And he's very smart, man, much smarter than I.
Definitely knows his way around the trichomes, that's for sure. I can't imagine how heartbroken he had to have been when that prototype of that hash machine went up at Sub's house.
Oh yeah, the fire. So I constantly forget about Sub's fire and whatnot like that, and for some reason, there's a big old foggy space there. The only thing that I wasn't a keen on is you know, Sub caught a lot of shit from a lot of people after that for some reason, and I'm not quite sure why it all happened.
Of course. Plain and simple.
Just some bad stuff.
So, have you been in Michigan your whole life, and I believe northern Michigan?
No, I've been around a few different places, but I was born in Michigan. I moved around a little bit, ended up coming back to Michigan. Well, not too long before I was 22. Yeah, I went a few places. I've
What took?
gone to a few different states, few different countries, and called it good.
What took you out of state?
My job, really. I just kind of I was forced to do a lot of traveling and a lot of hurry up and waiting. Just came with the territory. But that's a lot from that period of time. I don't much like to talk about. That's that's all.
Right on. Nothing wrong with that. So, do you grow outdoors? Do you prefer to? Are you just an indoor grower? A little bit of both.
I've only ever grown indoors. I've not grown outdoors yet, but I'd like to grow outdoors. I was thinking about maybe next season getting some of those. Sure, you've probably seen them, the octopot, and getting a couple autos. Yeah. I want to put a couple autos in a couple of those and maybe set them in a greenhouse or something. And that, excuse me, that would be my first attempt at outdoor here. I've always thought maybe the mitten wasn't so friendly for the outdoor growing rainy season and such as it is.
Shit, that's what I kind of thought too. And then, man, I see Boo Farms up there in Canada. He's got a very similar season to what we got. He's killing it up there right now with them damn autos. I could give you props on that, man. That little greenhouse, well, it ain't little, but he's got some nice 6 foot easy autos over there, and they're looking pretty damn good. Makes me think twice about autos on the outdoor. What's up, Indra? How you doing? There's a weed nerd right there, Mr. Indra.
Oh yeah. Yeah, soon again, he says. I think he wants to come back on your show.
I hope so, and he's one of the favorites. Indra is definitely one of the show favorites.
Oh yeah, loaded with knowledge. So
Yes, yes, sir. And he just, I mean, knowledge on cannabis and just life stories in general too. I mean, he has he's a great speaker. He's just one of the people that you just enjoy listening to. Always an honor to have him. It's always been an honor.
yeah, I feel like that right there might be one of my biggest drawbacks is I am really terrible at the whole socializing thing. It just don't come natural to me. You know, I've been much more accustomed in my life to just getting told what to do and just doing it as opposed to talking. So you know, it's just kind of what I got used to. So I'm bad at talking.
Well, it sounds like you should smoke up. Get a little bit more talkative. I mean, have you taken a little pup break since we got going there?
Yeah, a little bit here and there. You know, I try not to hit it too hard because I don't really cough. Whew. Oh man.
What's the next hunt you're gonna go for there? What's the next strain you're gonna hunt?
I think the next one that I'm gonna go for is gonna be the Afghan black skunk from Stray Fox or Circle of Blessings, whatever whichever you prefer to call them. But I think I'll be searching through that one and the skunky white. Yeah, the Afghan black fox. Sorry, the Afghan black skunk is his Michigan skunk. To someone will probably have to correct this, but one of his Afghan cuts, and the skunky white, excuse me, is his cut of the white to his cut of the Michigan skunk.
Ooh, both sound interesting. That's for sure. I'm looking forward to hearing what you get out of that.
I'm pretty excited myself. You know, if a pack says skunk, chances are I've bought it and tried to grow it just to see if it's really a skunk or not. So I'm always excited to see how it turns out.
Man, I wish you some luck on that skunk. I really do. I mean, that's one of the ones you find that thing, you're gonna be set. That would be just similar to hitting tonight's lotto, finding that skunk.
It would
I
be.
think if
It would be. Somewhere. It's out there somewhere still. I don't know where, but somewhere it is.
you know what I think is hilarious. First of all, I want to say, Indra, hit me up. When you were on the last time, we happened to just kind of both be out at the same time, but I might be able to take care of you currently with some stuff drying and curing. So I'd like to help you, Indra, if you could shoot me an address. Uh, the cricket. That's what the funny thing I was going to say about there is the cricket. They
Yeah,
talk
I've got
about him in
crickets.
chat. It's been here for like the last week. I mean, he has been over here the last week and trying to get up in the mic nonstop. So that's why I think it's funny. I think they probably think it's me over here. But for once, for the night, the cricket is not at my house. And he wasn't at my house the other night, too. Who was it? Damn it. Missy Cannabis. I was interviewing him, and he had a cricket that night, too. And I was thinking, oh, I bet you they think it's me.
No,
It
it's
was funny.
definitely me.
The one night I played the dab song, and I swear it must be the music or what, but that cricket was like right on as far as the
Jamming.
beat. Yeah, every time he was like dun dun dun, he was like "Kirk, kirk, 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 kirk." I mean, you go back and watch that video. He was like right on. I wasn't the only one who noticed it.
But it was, I ain't even mad. That's impressive.
I thought so too. Damn crickets. Always trying to get in on the show. In fact, that one night, if you look back a few episodes, it says the rabbit hole starring Jimmy the fucking cricket. He was just loud and pronounced. He was like right where I'm at right here, like right behind me is like some shit that would be just a bear to friggin' move. And he was like right there. I mean, like really close to me and the mic, but just out of reach. And that's where he stayed all night long. Just must have been a big one too. But I think they're funny. They're pretty common. They're pretty strong this year. I mean, seems to be a lot. Everybody has a cricket. A bunch of crickets running around.
Well, it probably don't help that I'm actually standing out in my garage as well. I try to avoid smoking indoors if I can. I still like to smoke outside. So that's probably it right there.
Michigan night.
Oh, it is. Would have been a great night for a bonfire, I tell you what.
When I was out there earlier, I mean, I'm up pretty far. I'm like 3/4 of the way up in the middle there, something like that. And boy, the sky out here tonight, you could see. We get some beautiful starry nights up here. I mean, amazing. Tonight was one of them. You could just see stars as far as stars on stars on stars.
Still kind of that way out right now. That's some part of why I really like living up this way. You know, not a whole lot of light pollution and whatnot, so you get to see a lot of that stuff, like that Neowise, that comet that was here the other week and whatnot. I actually managed to get a few pretty good pictures of that bugger because of, well, there's no light up here to drown it all out. So Michigan, great nights up here. Very, very peaceful, very quiet.
The only thing I don't like about this northern Michigan, and it is coming so fast, is
don't say
winters.
It. Oh. Not winter, no winter. I hate that shit. All winter. Snow and I are not friends.
I would love to be able to take this hunk of land, this atmosphere, and just take it like maybe 100 miles south or something like that. I got spoiled with the southern Michigan winters, and then I moved up here, and it was like, what the heck is this? I'm used to it snowing and melting. Yeah. It snows up here and then stays till spring. Whole different. I hate to say it, but I think we're in for it this year, buddy.
Oh man, you know it. Well, see, I kind of pay attention to the birds, and here just the other week, you know, usually the Orioles have flown back through by this point, but they're just now coming back through, and they usually only do that if the winter's going to be, they would say a little bit warmer, but that just means it's going to be a lot more snow this year, I think, if you go by the whole old farmers type stuff and whatnot.
I do, from what I had seen, I believe it was Lake Michigan. I want to say it was one of the northern lakes. I'm not already down to 50 degrees. 50 degrees. So it's already at 50.
It's going to be a lot of snow, lake effect snow.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a cold winter. That's what I'm seeing. So hopefully not, but I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. I hate to say it, but I am. Not ready for the weather change, but I'm just ready for winter.
I think being in northern Michigan, you pretty much have to just be ready for it. The white hell that comes every year.
It's funny because I travel up and down the state a lot during the winter, and it's actually, if you were to set a camera on my dash, you could actually watch the state unthaw and then freeze again on my drive, because that's what it looks like from when I leave. There's inches, sometimes feet, depending on the time of year. And then as I drive, it just like melts. I get down to Genesee County area, no snow. See my daughter hang out down there for a few hours, then turn around, come back, and then it just freezes again, or it probably would on camera, just right back. It's like, it's hard to watch.
I just, like, I've never been a fan of snow myself. I guess it isn't even just the cold that bothers me. It just gets in the way. It's just there's too damn much of it. Black stuff, and people go sliding off roads all the damn time. And you can't ride the bike in the winter. I don't like not being able to ride the bike.
That's one thing you definitely get a plus for up here in the northern Michigan is, man, you definitely get some beautiful roads for riding bikes up here, man. We've definitely got beautiful roads. Nice scenery and nice, just pothole-free roads up here.
Oh, pothole-free, I wish. See, maybe over by you it's like that, see, but you go a little bit west into the state over here, into the we'll just call it the Cadillac Lake City region, and you start to get a lot more of those potholes again.
Nothing. Maybe so, but it can't be as bad as like downstate.
Oh no, nowhere near as bad as like Grand Rapids or anything like that, or hell forbid Detroit, like it was around where that last cup was.
Did you go to that?
I did for a whole lot of about maybe an hour and a half before I decided there wasn't a whole lot there I wanted to pick up. I really go to Cup every year if I can, just so I can collect beans. I really like to buy seeds and such, so best place to get them.
Right. I can't believe you waited out that line for a whole hour and a half at that Cup.
I was a person of a low amount of patience that weekend. I wasn't real feeling it. I wasn't real keen that they had actually switched the event from Clio to Detroit, because it took me from a 2.5 hour ride to about a 4 hour ride to get there.
Yeah, it was a long haul. It was definitely a long haul. And to stand out in the sun there. The street hustlers were a different atmosphere. It was something to see the No short of hustlers that day, that's for
Yeah,
sure. Man,
no.
they were out. It was so rehearsed. It was like they had
I
all gotten
suppose you could say
together and
thicker than
worked
thieves.
together. I for real think that. I think they had like a meeting and just was like, okay, there's no sense in fighting. Let's all work together on this.
One big take. Everybody's involved.
Yeah. It was a good time. I mean, I laughed. I mean, it was so choreographed. It was yeah, I had a good time watching it. That's for sure. For sure. But it wasn't a bad weekend. I went both days. I was glutton. Drove down there both days. I should have fucking just
Oh,
stayed down there the one day, but I drove both days like an idiot.
that's why I liked the Clio one. Is that it was easy to ride down there and then ride back, and not have to worry about riding down there the next day. But I hear there was some
Yeah.
issues with that place, so they probably won't have another event there at the track.
I hope that they at least have one up near us somewhere. The haunted or the herbal forest wasn't bad.
I
It
know.
was a little light on people this round because of the COVID stuff, but hopefully they're going to do it again. I believe it's October 10th, I want to say, and that'd be a good time. I was looking forward to that. It was
I
nice to have an event 20 minutes away. I've never had one that close. Even when I lived downstate, Clio was still, good half hour, 40 minutes, but 20
I know.
minutes. I was digging
I'd
it.
love to see one like in the Traverse City area or something like that. Anywhere around here really would be nice. Just up north a ways. But yeah. I didn't end up going to that forest. I kind of figured there probably wouldn't be as many seed vendors there, and that's usually what I go to those types of events for myself.
Yeah, there was absolutely zero as far as seeds to go there. I don't recall seeing any seeds there for sale.
Oh,
And it was, there was only like, you know, last minute sound like a lot of vendors canceled, but there was maybe 10 vendors there. I mean, if that. But it was good, nice personal event, and it seemed to get cooler as the night went on because, yeah, excuse me, everybody had like a camping spot. You could reserve a camping spot for the weekend, and once the night towards the nightfall came, everybody kind of wandered back to their campsite and started smoking them down, and that's what seemed to be when it really started to get kind of cool. Just a big campground of smokers. That'd been real cool.
I'm sure it'll pick up. It'll be able to happen here in the future. People are gonna excuse me. People are gonna start getting out of their homes and whatnot as I guess I don't want to say as the sickness passes and such for those that want to look at it that way. But yeah, I'm sure events and everything will pick up again in the future. It does seem like cannabis events are going to be specifically a little difficult because of all the coughing involved and such. Of course, there's going to be a lot of people shooting side eye at one another, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's one of the things. Though I'm not there with that. I actually do. I smoke down before I leave the house anymore. I do. I make sure I clearly, clearly stink like weed when I leave the house anymore. Just in
No
case,
question to
I
it.
let a little cough go. I'm like, oh, it's a weed cough. It's a weed cough. Just smoke down before I came in. Sorry, the little tickle. Sorry about that. I
There
do.
needs to be a
I
shirt that says "Not sick, just baked."
be pretty appropriate. Just even if you get that on a mask anymore, I think that would be pretty appropriate.
Oh
We're
yeah,
all
yeah.
red eyed.
I was going to see a black mask and red eyes. We were like, yep, okay.
Such a weird thing, man. I'd still get not used to the mask thing. I'm really not. I don't think anybody is.
I know it's a touchy subject, so I kind of try to avoid it so as to not make myself sound like more of a jackass than normal.
You sound like a pretty wise man. You can say what you want, but you know when to duck a subject, which tells me you're pretty damn wise.
You gotta know when to not get yelled at on the internet for stuff. You know, that's all. Oh, maybe not yelled at. That's not the word, but pestered by repeated messages and stuff from people who want to make your life a living hell just because you said something that may or may not have been taken out of context.
So, are you going to grow outdoors next year? You think that would be a possibility for next year?
I'm really hoping so. I'd really like to take and do the autos so that I can I don't know, see how that turns out. And if those do all right, then I don't know if photo period plants would be acceptable here in the mitten, but I'm sure we could figure it out.
Some indicas. Well, the indicas you like would fucking probably be all right outdoors, I'm sure. Some quick flowering indicas, heavy hitters. At 9 pounds, a fucking quick flipper.
The 9 pound is?
Yeah. Yeah. My 9 pound is done 56 days. Done.
Huh. I'll have to consider popping that one open.
That, especially that older pack that you got, which is there's a difference there because
what exactly is the difference?
The fucking Hell's OG. After the first run, they lost the Hells and repopped or got a different one, and that's where all the color variation comes from in the other 9 pounds. That's what makes that pack so special. Is the testers in that first round, that first TGA pack, had the good Hells. Well, the 9 pounds a good strain no matter what. That half good that he's sitting on over there is just amazing. But that Hells that they had was fire. And then when the recreation, the V2, if you will, brought in all the color. So that's why when you talk to him about it, he won't address it, but he will tell you that there's a good 10 different phenos. Well, yeah, there is because there's two different. You know what I'm saying? Two different studs there. So,
well, I feel like the whole subject, anything to do with Jinx, was kind of a sore one with him after a bit.
Right. And it was good to see that, even towards the end, they were starting to get over it there.
Yeah. It's
all wounds.
I'm glad that everything turned around for the better. That it's in spirit, at least. I do still feel some remorse that sub had to pass. That is a terrible thing. No one should have to go through that. He was real sick, though.
Yeah, it's a bunch of people were quick to point out this time would have been very tough on him. This whole COVID mess would have been.
Yeah, it would have been rough. But I do plan on doing outdoor. Hopefully, hopefully I can. Oh no, it's all good. I apologize. I kind of took off in a different direction again. But I do plan on running outdoor. If it all turns out well, I'm hoping maybe I can maybe get a pretty decent amount of temple ball style hash, or even maybe some rosin pressed out of it. That'd be a pretty neat little thing to do with it.
Yeah, that would be. You know, I almost went outdoors this year, but then I didn't. I wanted to, but didn't. I'm glad I didn't, but I still wanted to. I thought I'd get away with it up here, but then the whole, I don't know if you how often you watch it in the show, but I had the people on the property line this year, right on the fucking property line, right. You know, it would have been if I would have threw some plants right there, they would have been like neighbors with them. That probably would have been. I was like, really, really, out of all the spots, that's where you guys chose to start throwing up campers right there. All right.
I've actually had a bit of an issue over this last summer with a similar individual who decided they just wanted to start putting stuff up at the back of the property. Luckily, I do not grow out there, but that does not make me happier when I have to go out there and worry about that sort of thing. So I can understand your stress there.
Oh man, I don't know what happened, but I'm thankful that the trailer park, as we all started to call it, has died down. I don't know what happened, but I don't know. What's sad is a lot of the campers are still there. There's actually like a trailer, and there's like it's a 4 acre lot over there, backed up to my 4 acres, and he could have put all these things anywhere, but they're like the one is. I mean, it's on the property line. I mean, there's no 10 feet or nothing. I mean, it's the property line, and right in like out of like I said, out of all there's tree line, and then there's like one 16-foot gap where you could actually see or whatever, you know, and that's where they put the damn campers right there, right in the gap. And oh man, I was bummed about it. But right now, as we speak, there's that camper and two other full size campers that are set up with generators, like somebody's weekend retreat. So like on the weekends, we get like not just one person coming up to the property, but we get like five, bang. They all show up with four wheelers and side by sides, and it's like, ugh, here we go.
Well, I mean, uh, it's always a toughie situation, you know, when you got some issues with neighbors, even if they're very temporary neighbors.
That's what they are too. That's the piss of it is the temporary part of it.
Difficult to, you know, get to any common ground with folk that can just be like, yeah, fuck off and, you know, go somewhere else.
You know what's funny about it is I was uh I was getting up the other day and I was looking out the back there drinking my coffee and I seen Chip Dip's dad.
You see what now?
Here I thought there was a puppy that I was like on the show there that I was getting way too attached to, and I thought it was from one of my dogs, and fucking no, I'm sitting there drinking my coffee the other day, and I see this dog wander through the gap there from the campground, if you will. And I'm like, son of a bitch, there's Chip's dad. That's where all them puppies came from. Damn it.
Got yourself a local tramp as he is.
Yeah. Just coming up on the weekends and getting some little sneaky guys.
He used to say he goes out and gets some country girls.
Going back to the city and telling all the other city dogs about it.
Yeah.
That's funny shit. That's why I like the pines right there. Open up them lungs. Open them lungs up. I always think of them coughs as good things. Really, I do, like exercise.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, cannabis is not the only thing I've smoked throughout my life, so my limbs are mostly terrible. Throughout a large portion of my life before I got to cannabis, I don't know if you're familiar with hookahs at all, but there was a few solid years with that's really about all I would smoke. I would smoke, I would set up a hookah and I would smoke it just about hours a day, just sit there blowing smoke rings like that caterpillar from Alice in Wonderland.
No shit. No shit. With cannabis, I hope, or tobacco.
No, it was
Both.
tobacco. It was tobacco for the
Oh,
most part. So, like I said, I did not take good care of my lungs for a long period of time. And yeah.
yeah. I've never even smoked tobacco out of a hookah. That's got to be. Whew.
Well, it's a the way they mix it. It's mixed with a vegetable glycerin of some variety. That sometimes it's even mixed with honey. But they take it in the air. You know how hookahs are lit. They put the coals on top and such. But yeah, they've got specially prepared tobacco for those kinds of things.
Nice. I didn't know. See, I never,
They
never
call it
know.
shisha, I think. But I think that's the pronunciation of it. Someone could probably correct that, I'm sure. But no, I used to smoke a little bit too much of that for a few years, we'll call it.
I wanted to get in on that fucking hookah that Frenchy's got. That he throws some hash pucks.
Yeah,
He gets that thing blazing. I'd like to get in on that for a few hours. Holy cow!
I agree.
If you could make it that long.
Oh, if we could, if the whole weed nerds and everything in Michigan ever having like a big old get together, just have to have some temple balls and a hookah. That's all we need.
That'd be an amazing event. We do need we have our dab events, but we don't have any good like bubble hash type events. Or it would be cool just to have like just a hash and extract, just like a big old cup like that. But more just hash. I think would be awesome to have like just a bubble cup or a solventless
Yeah,
cup would be nice.
like bubble hash and like temple balls and that kind of stuff. I guess. I mean, rosin
Yeah.
is not excluded, but definitely its own category of extraction.
Ooh, the hashishin cup.
Yeah, the
Just the
shishin cup.
hashishin cup. Maybe dry sift and like the old school, beating on it, just like hash.
Don't
Oh
they?
yeah.
I feel like they do something similar downstate in Detroit. Don't I think they do? I think they call it Dab Wars or something like that, don't they?
That's more like you say though, isn't it? Just like a solventless dabs, just dab on dab on dab. I don't know if that's just a hash. They're saying dabadoo.
They're
Mila
saying.
Jensen throws the dabadoo.
I feel like I
She's
recognize the name, but I can't remember who
she
she like.
she's been on the show. She's like one of the originators of like the
Oh,
bubble hash method.
you're talking about oh, damn it all.
Mila
Mila, yeah, Hash Free
Mila
Mila.
Jensen. Yeah.
Took me a second.
I can't wait to meet her when she comes to Michigan. We have like a pre-date, if you will.
Is she coming to the Michigan here?
Soon as she can travel, soon
That
as
is
she
pretty
can
far.
travel, she's coming to Michigan. I said, you better hit me up. So She's like, I will. So I can't
You
wait.
know
I'm
she will
actually
too. Then.
just stoked. Oh, I know. I need another round with her. She was a completely fun episode as well. Her and Breeder Steve were like a week apart, and those two episodes were super fun, super fun. I didn't think Breeder Steve was like that. I didn't think he had a sense of humor like that. But he was
You
super
didn't think he
fun.
had a sense of humor at all.
No, no, I didn't. To be honest with you, I thought that was going to be just straight up, just a you know, no comedy, no relief to it at all. But yeah, there was a lot of fun banter with Breeder Steve. Mila was completely fun. She was a riot. Them are probably my three favorites right there. Her, Mila, Indra, and damn it, I forgot the first one we were talking about. Damn it, totally squirreled there.
It's a
Oh,
shame you
Breeder
couldn't get
Steve.
your breeder Steve. Yeah,
Breed,
it's a shame you couldn't get your multi day stream up for 420.
I know it. I know it. That was a great day.
There
I
was a
can't even.
lot of information packed into like so many little snippets there.
Yeah, you know, I'm as that was caught up in limbo, that 24-hour marathon. I was like stoked about it, and everybody else was stoked about it too. And then I kind of started looking back at myself personally. You know what I mean? Around hour 24, you know, probably hour 22, because I was actually live 26 plus hours
Well,
that
yeah,
day and a half, because I did the bro show that before I did the 24-hour marathon, and then towards the end of the 24-hour marathon, there I was fucked. I mean, I remember about falling asleep there until sequence 3 at one point says, "Oh, there he goes, there he goes." And I kind of snapped back into it. I was like, "Oh no, I'm still awake," and I fucking lit up another joint. And from that point on, I remember like eating habanero hot sauce, trying to keep my ass awake. And I remember just sitting there, just sweating, and it was keeping me awake, but it wasn't working all that great. And then like the next few days, I was like, do I really want that? I'm like thinking to myself, oh, that had to look just terrible towards the end of that. Do I really want to be remembered looking like that? I don't know. But I wish it would air, but I wish I could at least get a copy of it, man.
At the same time as wanting it to air, you kind of want to like edit a couple of things and be like, no, I don't look at this part.
Yeah. Yeah, just totally blur me out towards the last few hours.
Specifically, just cut out or put a black square over there that just says your name. It's like, no, he was awake the whole time.
Uh, yeah, yeah. Computer animate my eyes so they're just like wide open the whole time, wide open and white. That would be some funny shit. I fully intend on uh, doing it again. Why not? A little better plan. A little better plan. We'll have to break it in half this year so it can stay up on YouTube. I think I broke both rules that day. I think it was both the length of the video and the size of the file, because it couldn't go any longer than 12 hours. We went 24, and then it couldn't be any bigger than 128 gigs. And I think between the show and chat, the whole chat messages and everything, I think we exceeded, way over exceeded that 128 gigs. But yeah, live and learn, break it up next year, still do it. Just have to do like an intermission in the middle, maybe a half hour break, 15 minutes each way.
something just to break it up so that you guys can get the whole thing posted.
Right on. It was fun though. It was fun.
Well, Eagle, I think here soon I'm gonna have to call it quits. I am already way past what I usually. I'm usually up in a couple hours.
Oh yeah, it'll probably be a rough day for you tomorrow, and hopefully you won't be cursing me all day tomorrow. But,
no, it'll be perfectly fine. I'm happy I actually got my ass on here. You know, like I said, I would one of these times. I didn't came through with my promise. Got on the show. You know, talked about the stuff I don't know about, and
Well, I appreciate it. That obviously you're a man of your word, and that means a lot. That's a rarity all in itself. And I appreciate you coming on because it helps buy me another day. Every day that somebody comes on is another day that the show gets to move forward a little easier, a little easier.
yeah.
And I appreciate it. It's especially cutting yourself short tomorrow on your sleep for tomorrow because that could be who knows what's in store for you tomorrow.
I'm sure it'll be
But
perfectly fine.
I do need to grab my soundbite from you. If you don't, know what the soundbite is, right?
Yeah, I know what the soundbite is. I know what the soundbite is. Are you ready? Are you ready for the soundbite?
I am recording and ready, sir.
I am the Warlock, and I am fucking talking shit with you. Is that good? Is that good? Good enough?
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Kick ass. All right.
Well, you know the deal too. So, just so you know, I know you probably not. Doesn't sound like you're too big on the social media and whatnot, but keep.
I try my best. I try my best.
Keep the Zoom numbers in case you ever do want to hang out again. It's an open door invitation on the panel shows and the rabbit holes if you ever want to hang out.
Oh, okay. I will definitely do that. I know the question didn't come up, but I'm going to answer it anyway, just for myself. If anybody wondered why I decided to choose the name Warlock, it's because when I was younger, I used to play a lot of Dungeons and Dragons, and Warlock was the shit. So, anyhow, all right.
I was very curious, and I was just getting ready to answer the question or ask the question myself, but I was like, this could be a long answer, so. And he's already wanting to go, so I didn't want to pry anymore. But I'm glad you threw it out there because I was most definitely curious. Most definitely. Because you don't have the demeanor. You know what I mean? You don't have the warlock. I don't hear it in your voice. I don't hear it in your voice.
I gotta have like the kind of like the power voice somehow. I don't got it.
I just can't see you like when you think of the warlock, I guess you think of somebody that'd be walking around smashing things and having to have their way. And from your tone of voice, I don't see that from you. You sound like very laid back, very respectful person. And I don't.
Oh, okay. I got it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
On a terroristic path or nothing like that. You seem like to be a very great guy. So.
But all right, you know what? Thank you very much for inviting me to be on the show.
Well, thank you very much for coming on. And you have an amazing day tomorrow. Hopefully it goes eventless. You can have a nice, easy day because you gave me such a long night. I'm hoping it works out for you. Get a nice, enjoyable day tomorrow. All right, the Warlock. Thank you, sir, for joining us. With that being said, going to go ahead and sign off for this episode, this portion of the show. I'm going to probably pop back on in a minute for the rabbit hole 152.5. Hang out for a few. See if any of you guys want to join me for at least a few. Got a load of work to do tonight. Still packing seeds. Still getting her done. But I'm willing to hang out for a few. So I'll catch you guys in about 5. Look for me in about 5. And but if for those of you who aren't gonna tag along for the rabbit hole, have an amazing night and have an amazing weekend. And look forward to seeing you hopefully tomorrow night. Red Eye Rustler will be here chatting with me tomorrow night, and we should be a great show. But if you're looking to hang out, I'll see you in a few. Random acts of kindness do save lives. Don't forget, do something nice for each other. Good night.